Welcome to Chronically Crocheting. I have a lot to share with you. Let's have some fun! For today's tutorial, we're going to make this little mini no-sew amigurumi. You start from the top and work your way down, and you don't have to tie on his arms or his nose or sew on his hat. You literally just keep going and crocheting. We're just going to attach yarn colors when we need them and drop white yarn and pick it back up. And it is beginner friendly, but not an absolute beginner. In this tutorial, I will not be teaching you how to do a magic ring or a slip knot or single crochet. It will, so hopefully you know the basics. It's not for the absolute beginner, but I do go slow and I'm really excited. The more you make, they are so quick. The faster you get, you could do one in an hour. And then later I started making it with a 5-weight yarn and had a lot of fun with buttons and stuff. And I'm going to show you all of them in a different separate video. This is about the tutorial. So the pattern, the written pattern, is available on my Etsy shop. It is in the description box below. I'm going to have, for those of you that bought the pattern, it time-stamped for the arms and the nose and how to, the hat at the end of the hat when you start beginning the snowman's body. I did write down everything in the tutorial, like how many single crochets, how many stitches, except I did not write out the nose and the arms. It just is too long. I'm not able to write that all out. So you'll just have to watch the video to pay attention to that part or buy the pattern. I have Facebook and Instagram if you'd like to show me your finished mini snowman. They make wonderful ornaments for the tree, and I'm really excited. I'm excited to see your guys's. I'm so addicted. Let me show you my favorite one so far. This is later once you get to know the pattern. Same pattern, but I just added some fun buttons and colors and stuff, so you don't have to stick with the traditional colors. So let's get started with this tutorial. Next is going to be materials, and then after that will be the tutorial. Woohoo! I'm so excited. For the tutorial to make this cute little guy, hello, I am using Lion Brand Basic Stitch anti-pilling yarn. However, you can use any 4-weight yarn that you want. I'm going to be using, this is the body color, and it is white for the hat because it's easier to see. In the tutorial, I'm using the colorway grass. For the nose, I am using the colorway pumpkin. And for the arms, I'm using skin tones in cedarwood. And then for this little bit right here, I'm just using some 4-weight yarn. It feels like Red Heart or something to make my coal. And for the mouth right here, you're gonna need a little bit of embroidery floss. I like that better than a big thick yarn. For the bow, I use 3/8 of an inch for the, oh my gosh, the scarf. The eyes are 8mm. You're going to need 8mm safety eyes in the back. And I put a little bit of fabric behind the safety eyes to help secure the eyes. You're going to need a couple stitch markers, a darning needle, a pair of scissors, and I like to use a 3.5mm crochet hook when I'm crocheting with a 4-weight yarn. A 4-weight yarn. You could go up or down depending on what you like to use to make amigurumi. And let's get started. We are going to start with the hat. So start with the yarn color that you want your hat to be and make a magic circle. I like to do a double magic circle because I find that when you close it up, the hole will never come back open. There are a lot of tutorials on YouTube. This took me a lot of practice to do. I'm talking, I don't know, 30 times to get it right. So someday I'll try to do a tutorial to give you my my tricks and tips on it. But you could do just a single magic circle or a chain if that's how you like to start yours. So in round 1, we are going to place 8 single crochets in your magic circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we need to close our circle, and you want to grab the loop that when you pull on it, it closes very easily. It shouldn't be a struggle. You close it, and then you take the string and you close the other loop all the way up, good and tight, and then that circle will never come over. I find with a single one, it would come open all the time. So now I don't use stitch markers. I like to use a piece of ribbon. I'm going to fold that over. I use that to mark my rows. Then if I ever need to pull back, I know each row where it begins and where it ends. So for round 2, we are going to do an increase in every stitch. That means we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around. So here's my first one. I'm going to place 2 single crochets. Oh no, I lost it. Just kidding. So I'm going to place 1, 2 in the first stitch, 1, 2 in the next stitch, and then I'm going to continue doing this until the end of round 2, and we will have 16 single crochets. I will meet you at the end of round 2. I am at the end of round 2. I'm going to place my last 2 single crochets, and I'm going to take my ribbon and fold it over to mark that round. Now for round 3, we are going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch. However, we are going to do that in the back loop only. So do you see how there's a V? And normally we work in both of these stitches when we make a stitch. Instead, we're going to go into the back loop to make a stitch instead of going into both of them. So the loop closest to you, right there, the one closest to you, that's your front loop, and then the other one's your back loop. Now, your first stitch, you got to kind of spread this in and find your first stitch because it's kind of hidden right there. So in that one, we're going to go in the back loop only and make a single crochet. And then again, we're going to go in the back loop only and make a single crochet. There's your 2 V's. You're going to go into the back loop and make a single crochet. And we're going to do that in every stitch all the way around to the end, and we will have 16 single crochets in the back loop only. I'll meet you at the end of round 3. I am at the end of round 3, and then I'm going to take my ribbon, place it over, and then for rounds 4, 5, and 6, we're going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch. So each row is going to have a total of 16 single crochets in each row. So we're going to this time go in both the loops, place a single crochet, and then for rounds 4, 5, and 6, we're going to do 1 single crochet, and I will meet you at the end of round 6. We are at the end of round 6. I'm going to do my last stitch, and I'm going to move my ribbon up to mark my place. Now we're going to do the brim. We're going to do an increase row in the front loop only. So remember, you have 2 loops. The loop closest to you is your front loop. So in the first stitch, that doesn't want to stay down for me. You're going to, in the front loop only, do a single crochet. In the next stitch, you're going to do an increase in the front loop only. That is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. The next stitch is 1 single crochet in the front loop only. The next one is 2 single crochets. You're going to repeat this pattern until the end of round 7, and I will see you at the end of round 7. I am at the end of round 7. I'm going to do my last single crochet, then an increase. Then we are done with the hat. I'm going to take my scissors and cut off maybe 2 inches, 3 inches. Then I like to pull this through. I'm going to remove my ribbon right now that I used as my marker. Then I'm going to get my darning needle that was hiding. And I'm going to, this is how I like to fasten off. A lot of people have you do a slip stitch in the next chain, but next stitch, but I don't like to do that. I just pull my yarn through. Then the next single crochet right here, I skip that. I go into the one after that. I pull my yarn through. Then the yarn that it was coming out of, that stitch right there, I go back into the center of that stitch, pull this through, and then it's kind of looking like a V, and you want to secure that down. And so on top of where that looks like the V, the false V you just made, into the back loop of that one stitch right there, you pull that through, that secures it down. You kind of pull it just a little bit, and now, ta-da, it's seamless. So that's how I like to do it. At this time, you can weave in your end if you would like. I'm going to, well, I don't want it to get in the way. We'll weave it in later because I want you to be able to see those loops. So now let me grab my white yarn. Let me pause it. Okay, so now we're going to attach our white yarn. I like to press this in, that tail, using this tail as my guide, but it's not important. You literally could just attach it on any one of these. I'm going to take my white yarn and I'm going to make a slip knot. Then I'm going to take my crochet hook and put it into the slip knot, pull it a little bit more closed. Now I'm going to place my crochet hook into that back loop that we created from round 7. We're going to go put our hook through it. We're going to yarn over, pull that yarn through. We got two loops on our hook. You see them? yarn over, pull through both of those, and we just did our first single crochet. Now we're going to go into the next stitch and do a single crochet in that back loop, and we're going to go all the way around and do one single crochet in the back loop of round that we left from round 7, and we will have 16 single crochet. There should be 16 loops left. These are the loops from round 6 from that round, and you should have 16 of these. And I'm just going to do this with you. We could just crochet along all these single crochets. I'll show you how I count them at the end, because at the end of this there can be like maybe a gap, and it can be kind of confusing where the round begins and the round ends. So you just need to stop and count and make sure you have 16. If you don't, try to find another loop, and if you have too many, you can just undo one and close in the gap. Let's see how many we have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then there's that 15th one. So I should have one more loop, and it looks like this loop is it. So there's 16. And so that looks good. So that is the end of, that is the beginning of round 1 when it comes to attaching the white yarn to do the snowman's body. So now we're working on the snowman's body, and we're going to consider this white yarn our round 1 because the hat was separate. And we're just attaching onto it. So now I'm going to place my red ribbon for my row counter or round counter. Let me put that back on. And now for round 2 of the snowman's body, we're going to do it's an increase round. We're going to do 1 single crochet increase, 1 single crochet increase, all the way around, and at the end of this round you should have 24 single crochets. So we're going to go into this first one, 1 single crochet, and increase is 2 stitches in 1, 1 single crochet. Let me grab me some more yarn, sorry about that. Increase, 1 single crochet, increase, and we're going to repeat that until the end of round 2, and I'll meet you at the end of round 2. I am at the end of round 2 of the snowman's body. It's my last single crochet, and then increase. I'm going to pull this over. And now for rounds 3 and 4, we're going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch. So each round is going to have 24 stitches, and we're going to do that a total of 2 times. So rounds 3 and 4 of the snowman's body will have 1 single crochet in each stitch. And I am going to meet you at the end of round 4. I am at the end of round 4. I'm going to place my last single crochet. I'm going to take my ribbon and pull it over. I just want to show you this V. That is your first round 1, and then you go to a next set of V's, your round 2, the next set of V's, your round 3. Your next set of V's, that's round 4. That's how you can count your rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this round, we're going to put the nose in. So first, we're going to do 8 single crochet, but on the 8th one, we're going to be attaching our orange yarn. So let me show you. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, this is stitch 8 where we want to attach the orange yarn at the end of this stitch. So we go in like normal, we yarn over and pull through that yarn, and typically we'd yarn over again and pull through the white, but we don't want to pull through the white. We want to pull through some orange. So here's my orange. You want to leave a little tail so that we could tie that, help to secure the nose. We wrap that around and hold it, pinch it, and pull that through. And now in the back here, just drop the white yarn, hold it down, drop that tail, hold it down. And now into the next stitch, we want to make our nose. Now the nose, we only want to go into the front loop. We want to use this back loop for later. So we're going to grab a stitch marker and put that in the back loop. I'm trying to do it so you can, my hand's not in the way. So I'm going to put that in the back loop of that next stitch. Then I'm going to pick the stuff back as I'm holding down those tails. Pick that back up. So into that front loop, I'm going to slip stitch with my orange yarn. Kind of hard to do this on camera, sorry. Let me do that again. I think I was a little off camera. There's my front loop. I'm going to grab it and get in there, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through again. That's a slip stitch. Now we're going to chain. Let me look at my notes. I'm losing my place. 3, 1, 2, 3. And in the second chain from the hook, here's the hook, here's chain 1. And this second chain, we're going to slip stitch. So we're going to go through there, yarn over, pull through that loop, and then pull through the other loop. And the last chain right there, we're going to do a half double crochet. We're going to yarn over, go into that loop. We're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over. You got 3 loops right here. 1, 2, 3. We're going to yarn over, pull through all 3 of those. And then now we're done with the nose, but we need to continue working with the white yarn. So what we're going to do, normally you would go through and yarn over and pull through what's on your finger, but we don't want to continue with this orange yarn. So we're going to drop the orange yarn. Oh no, it's stuck on my finger. We're going to go inside here and find the white working yarn. We're going to make it go. We're going to push down everything else. We're going to take our hook. We're going to go through that, the same front loop that we did the nose in. We're going to go through that. We're going to wrap this white yarn around. We're going to pull it through, and then we're going to pull it through again. That's a slip stitch, but we're reattaching the white yarn. Then let's do a couple more stitches and then we'll tie down the nose. So then we're going to go into the next stitch, do a single crochet. We're actually going to do 1 single crochet in the next 15 stitches. Let me do a few and just pause just for a second. See the nose? How it looks, you know, a little wonky? That's just because you need to pull this end that's loose, pull that tight. Then we need to cut this off and maybe cut, I don't know, 2-3 inches, because we're not working with that one anymore. Let me cut it. Then you can now pull that a little tighter. And then these two ends, I don't like to actually tie them off until I do one more round, because it'll just have more to secure to. So you have this loose strand and this loose strand, and after we do one more round, we'll tie these two in a knot to secure it. So let's go back to our stitches and finish off this round. This is round 5 that we're working on. We're going to finish our single crochets. Now remember, we're doing a total of 15 single crochets. I need some more yarn. Get the orange out of here to finish off round 5. And we will have a total of 24 stitches at the end of round 5. Just going to finish this with you. Okay, here's my last stitch. Let me count these with you. Let me show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then that's going to look like a stitch, but that's our working stitch. So this back loop is 16. And then over here, only the white counts, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So we have 24 stitches. And now for row 6, we want to do 1 single crochet in each stitch. And we want to make sure we only have 24 stitches. So we're going to do 8 single crochet like we started in round 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that might look like a stitch, but it's not. It's just part of your whole slip stitch nose thing. So you want to go press that down and go where your stitch marker is. And see that loop right there? You want to go in there and do a single crochet. And then once, oh, look at that, wasn't very tight. Let me pull this a little tighter. I'm going to go into here where my stitch marker is. I'm going to do a single crochet into that. And I'm going to take this stitch marker off. I don't need it anymore. I'm going to put this down. Now we want to do 15 single crochets, and you want to make sure, do you see there is some orange yarn in that loop? That's part of the loop that you slip stitched in. That's part of that one back one. So you want to make sure you skip that, and you want to go to this next one and do a single crochet. And you're going to do a total, that's your first one, a total of 15 single crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So now you will have 24 single crochets if you counted them all around. I'm going to stop real quick. So on the nose right here, you take these 2 pieces and then you can just tie them in a knot. If you left a longer tail next time, you could come back in here and do a line. I don't think I left long enough, but let me show you what I'm talking about real quick. Well, I got you here. Let's see if I can do it with such a short one. I forgot. You would just go up through the opposite side where that's coming out. So maybe like over here. I'm pushing it through this opposite side. You pull it up, and then it's such a long one. Then you're going to take it and go through down here, just in case you want to just fill that gap in a little bit. And I would do that sometimes 2 times, but that's good for now. I didn't leave a long enough tail. Just helps fill that line in a little bit. And then you're just going to tie a few knots. And now your nose is secure and it's in the exact same place. So hard to do this on camera. I'm always worried that I'm going to be going off the screen. 2, 3. There we go. And then you just push that down. And now your nose, see how cute he is? Sorry, I had to touch my camera. There was something on there. Okay, so that was the end of round 6. Now we're going to work on round 7 and 8. And get this all back on again. This saves my finger from a strong indentation. See that indentation? It just gets worse and worse and worse until it's painful. Okay, so round 7 and 8, you're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch. And so you'll have 24 stitches in each round. So round 7 and 8, 1 single crochet each stitch. Each round has 24 stitches. And I will meet you at the end of round 8. I am at the end of round 8 and doing my last single crochet. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to put a stitch marker so I don't lose any of my stitches, because I want to put my eyes in now. Here's my snowman. Here's what he looks like. So I want to place the eyes. I'm going to curl that back up so we can see. I want to put him in rounds 3 and 4 of the body. So this is 1, 2, 3. Here's 3 and 4. So let me count that again. Here's 1, 2, 3. This is 3 and 4. I'm going to just put him in and then adjust them. So here's my nose. Let's see. I might want him closer. So there's that. Maybe I want it closer. Let's see. See if I like it like that. I might want him a little bit closer. The problem is if you get him too close, then they will look silly. But you got to remember stuffing's going to come in. So I think that's good. I like the distance because there'll be a bit of stuffing in there as well. Get that out of the way. That's what it looks on the inside. What do you think? I think that's good. You can only see 1 stitch separating the two. I like that. I like to take a piece of fabric, just any, inexpensive fabric, and I like to cut a piece. I also have some other stuff, but I don't have it by me, that I use. I put this behind the eye, so it helps it so the eyes don't get pulled through. So I cut a little square. It doesn't have to be perfect. I put just a little line that way. I fold it in half, and in the same spot a little line. I'm going to do it to this one, little line. So I'm creating like a little X. So then I take that and I put that here, and then I put that on the other one. There we go. It's on the back of my eyes. Now, my backs, I push them in. I have to do this part off camera. Let's see. There we go. That snapped. Take this one. Feels like I go down one more. Those were big backs. I didn't realize that. They probably should have been a little bit further apart. Some really big backs for little eyes, but there we go. The eyes are on. That's cute. He's looking cute. Yay. Okay, so then now where were we? We just finished round 8. I'm going to take this stitch marker back out. Then we're going to do round 9. Oops, I'm going to put my ribbon there. Let me get this back on. Okay, so now we're working on round 9. We're going to do a single crochet decrease, single crochet decrease all around, and at the end of round 9 you'll have 16 stitches. So you're going to do a single crochet, and then in the next 2 stitches you're going to do a decrease. You want to do an invisible decrease, because if you don't, you'll see your stitching. So normally you would go through both, but we're going to just go through the front loop only, put our hook up in there. Then we're going to go through the next loop, put our hook in there. We're going to yarn over, pull through those 2. We still have 2, pull through 2 more. It's called an invisible decrease, and what that does is leave some stitches in the back to help hide your stitching. So we're going to do a single crochet. The next one is an invisible decrease, so it's taking 2 stitches and creating 1. So only through the front loop, and then again through the next front loop, you go through, you got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through just 2 of them, yarn over, pull through the other 2. And you're going to continue that single crochet invisible decrease all the way around till the end of round 9. I'm at the end of round 9. I'm going to do my last invisible decrease. Okay, I'm going to pull this marker over my ribbon. So round 10 is going to be an increase round, and we're going to do it in the front loop only. This will help give it like a bend and just help give it a sturdier neck. So our increase round, we're going to do 1 single crochet in the front loop, and then the next is an increase. An increase means 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So in the front loop only, we're going to do 2 single crochets. Then we're going to do 1 single crochet in the front loop, and then 2 single crochets in the front loop of the next stitch. And we're going to continue that all the way around for round 10. 1 in the front loop, and then 2 in the front loop. And then at the end of round 10, you will once again have 24 single crochets, and I will meet you at the end of round 10. I'm at the end of round 10. I'm going to do a single crochet in the front loop and an increase in that front loop. 1, 2. So I'm going to put my ribbon marker over. And then for round 11, it'll be in both loops, and it's going to be an increase round again. So this time we're going to do 2 single crochets. 1, 2, oh my goodness, 2, I need more yarn. And then we're going to do an increase. That means 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Then we're going to do a single crochet, a single crochet, and then 2 in the next stitch. 1, 2. We're going to do a single crochet in the next one, a single crochet in the next one, and then an increase, which is 2 and 1. 1, 2. Then we're going to do a single crochet in the next, and then 2 in the next one. 1, 2. Then we're going to do a single crochet, and then 2 in the next one. A single crochet, and then 2 in the next one. Need some yarn. Okay, and then I'm going to do a single crochet, and then 2 in the next one. Then I'm going to do a single, and then you should be ending with 2 in your last stitch. Now, and we're going to stop and pause here, and we're going to stuff the hat and the head. I always like to put my hook down and put a stitch marker in, because if I don't, if you pull on that, you're going to lose a lot of stitches. So I need to go grab my stuffing. You go grab your stuffing if you don't have it by you, and let's stuff the head. I'll be right back. Got my stuffing ready, and I'm just gonna put some stuffing in there. This stuff's so fluffy. Just so fluffy. Okay, let me push it down into the hat. Let's see. Okay. I like it. I'll need more. Oh no. It's hard to stuff on camera. You don't want to take forever. Okay. This stuff has become my favorite stuffing because it's just so fluffy. You don't have to pull it apart like the other stuff. And it is called Cluster Stuff. Morning Glory is the brand. Cluster Stuff. My favorite stuffing. Now, we don't need it 100% stuffed because we will stuff more, but you definitely want to have the hat to where you like it, because you won't be able to add any more by the time you're all the way done with your snowman. I want a little bit more for the head before I continue on. Then you always go in the middle and press out to the sides, middle to the sides, middle to the sides, middle to the sides. Then it helps get your shape way better. Alrighty. Oh no. And then you'll just fix his face and everything when you're done with all your stuffing and messing with him. I think I'm going to add just a teeny bit more because I want him to keep his shape. Get in there. Okay. I think that's good. I'm happy with how he looks. And again, he will get more stuffing later. And you only just want to worry about the head. Don't do anything after the head. Let me take this out. Alrighty, where are we? We are going to start on round, let me get this, round 12. This round we will be doing the arms. So we're on round 12, and we're going to start, and we're going to do 5 single crochets, but like the nose at the end of that last, on the 5th single crochet, we're going to add in the brown yarn. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I'm at my 5th stitch, and I want to attach my brown yarn at the end of that. So I'm going to go through both stitches, yarn over, pull through, and I'm just going to drop this white yarn, and I'm going to pick up some brown yarn, leaving a little bit of a tail to tie that knot later. Wrap that around and then pull it all the way through. So we have a completed single crochet with the white, but now we have the brown yarn that we're going to use for the arm. And just like the nose, we're going to go into only the front loop. So we need to save the back loop for later. So I'm going to put in a stitch marker in that back loop for later. So I have my stitch marker there, so when we do the next round it makes it easier. And then in the front loop only, I'm going to slip stitch. So grab it, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. So now we're ready to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to be counting, this is chain 1, this is chain 2, chain 3, chain 4, chain 5, just how we just did them, because it's going to be easier for all these slip stitches that we're going to do. So in the 4th chain, remember this is the 5th one, in the 4th chain we're going to slip stitch into that one. And this one could be just a little difficult. Okay, and then that was the 4th chain, and then to the 3rd chain, remember 1, 2, 3, we're going to slip stitch. Slip stitch. Now we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and in the 2nd chain from the hook, here's the hook, 1, 2, we're going to slip stitch. And in the next chain, we're going to slip stitch. And then back into that 3rd chain that we just slip stitched into, we're going to slip stitch again. Now in the 4th chain, remember, not 4th, I'm sorry, 2nd chain, remember this is 1, 2, that was 3. The 4th chain, we're going to slip stitch into that one. We're going to chain 1 and 2. We're going to do 2 chains. Sorry about that. I had to look at my notes. And then the 2nd stitch from this hook, we're going to slip stitch into that. And then back into that 2nd chain, we're going to slip stitch into that one. And then into your very first chain that you made in the beginning, we're going to slip stitch into that one. And just like the nose, we want to now reattach your white. We're done making the arm, so we want to go into that original front loop, drop the brown, pick up the white, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over and pull through again. Then we want to, before I cut this, I like to make a couple stitches. So now we need to crochet, let me see where I am, 12 single crochets. So don't go into the one we were just working on. You want the next one. We want to do 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now in the 12th one, we want to pick up our brown yarn, but we want to go back and cut this yarn so we can use it to tie down that arm. So just leave a few inches. It doesn't matter if you do a little too much. It's better to do a little too much than too little. So we cut that off. We'll leave these two ends for later to tie them down. Then this is the 12th stitch. We're going to pick up at the end of working that stitch, we're going to pick up the brown yarn. So we're going to go in both loops. We're going to yarn over, pull through. We have 2 hooks. We're going to drop that white yarn. We're going to leave it there because we still need it. We're going to pick back up our brown yarn. You can leave a little extra tail because sometimes doing your stitches it gets even shorter. We're going to wrap it and we're going to pull that all the way through to complete that stitch. So we still just made our 12th stitch and it's all in white, but we picked up the brown yarn. We're going to take those ends, hold them down, and into the next stitch. Again, we're going to go into the front loop to make a stitch, but you need a stitch marker in that back loop. So when we go around next time, you'll know where the back loop is and you won't have to guess. So in that back loop, I'm going to put a stitch marker for the next round. And then I'm going to go into the front loop, pull, do a slip stitch, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to slip stitch into the 4th chain. Remember, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the 4th chain. I'm going to slip stitch into that one. I'm going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to slip stitch. This is your hook into the 2nd chain from the hook. 1, 2. Oh no. I'm going to slip stitch and into the next chain, slip stitch, and into that 3rd chain that we originally slip stitched, we're going to slip stitch back into that. Then the 2nd chain, 1, 2, we're going to slip stitch into that. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to slip stitch into the 2nd chain from the hook. Here's the hook, 1, 2. There's the 2nd chain from the hook. We're going to slip stitch back into our original 2nd chain, slip stitch. Then we're going to slip stitch into that very 1st chain. That completes the arm, but now we need to reattach the white yarn. So we are going to put our hook through the original front loop, drop the brown yarn, re-pick up the working white yarn, and pull that through to complete that slip stitch. Now we need to make 13 single crochets. So I'm going to make them and then we'll go back and cut off that brown yarn. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to get this back on my finger. 4, 5. I'm getting too much resistance. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, I'm going to drop that. And then I'm going to leave 2-3 inches, cut that last arm, the 2nd arm. So we have just these 2 pieces on each of them, that are loose, but I like to do one more round to help secure these down before I tie them. So it's okay that they're just loose right now. I like to tie the knot after I do the next round. So that was the end of round 12. Now we're gonna take our ribbon, put it over to mark our row. So now we're gonna be doing round 13. So we need to do 5 single crochets. Oh, I was holding that down. Oh no. Well, phooey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so when you count 5, you know that you need to go into that back loop. So you know that that's nothing. You don't want to go into that. That's not a stitch to go into. You want to go into that back loop. That's why we put that stitch marker there. So you take your, oh no, you bend that down, you go into that back loop, you make sure those are out of your way, you yarn over and you make your single crochet. Then you take this stitch marker out, and now you want to do 12 single crochets, but we do want to go into this one right here. Oh no! So that's 1, oh no, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's in my way. Now we want to go back into that, the back loop of that one slip stitch where our stitch marker is. Do a single crochet. Take that stitch marker out. And then we're going to do 13 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we do indeed go into right where that brown one is in. So 1, 2, 3. Let me put this back on. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You should now have 32 stitches, the same as what you had in the previous row. I don't know why I said now have. You should have 32 stitches. So that was the end of round 13. We're going to do rounds 14. Oh, you know what? Before we start those, we need to tie off our arms. This is when I like to tie them off. I lost some stuffing. So you take the 2 ends. This one's a baby end. And you tie like 3 knots. You can tie them pretty tight. That's 1, 2, hard to do this on camera, 3. I'm going to go over to this one. Look how this one came out and it's not inside like it needs to be. That's okay. That's okay. You just take it, put it on your a darning needle, and how do we want it to go? However we want it to face. I guess we want it to face up. Oh no. We just put it back through here. I don't want it close to that one. I'm going to put it like over here. So then when I make a knot, see, I'll have a distance. So since that came out, I don't want to put it in the exact same spot because when you tie a knot, you'll have that to grab onto. So I'm just going to pull that through. Uh-oh, I grabbed a little piece of the arm. Ah, there we go, see? Pulled it through. There it is. No big deal. And then I'm going to tie my knot. Wish I could do this without my hands, but I can't. They get in the way. 1, 2, 3. And so, see, the hand, it worked out just fine. It's all good. I'm glad that happened so it doesn't scare you guys. That's what your darning needles and stuff is for. And then I just take these ends and kind of push them down into the stuffing so they're out of my way as I crochet more. Alrighty. Now let's do rounds 14 through 19. These will be easy rounds. These are just 1 single crochet in each stitch. So that's 32 single crochets each row, and you're going to do 6 rows. So rows are rounds. Rounds 14 through 19 is 1 single crochet in each stitch for a total of 6 rounds. So I am going to meet you at the end of round 19. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, I am at the end of round 19. I'll fold this over, and now we're going to start decrease rounds. So for round 20, we're going to do 1 single crochet twice and then a decrease. So we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease where you just pick up the front loops and of 2 stitches and you do a decrease. Then 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet in the next, and then an invisible decrease. And then we're going to do that. We're going to repeat that all the way around until the end of round. At the end of round 20, doing my last decrease. I'm going to fold my little ribbon over. And then now we're going to do another decrease. We're going to do 1 single crochet, decrease over the next 2 stitches, 1 single crochet, decrease, and you're going to repeat that pattern where you do 1 single crochet, then a decrease, and the next 2, all the way around until the end of round 21. 1 single crochet and a decrease, and I will meet you at the end of round 21. I am at the end of round 21. I'm doing my last invisible decrease. Now I'm going to stop and I'm going to stuff my amigurumi. I am not going to stuff him on camera. It's just so hard to stuff. But I'm going to stuff him and then I'll be back when I'm done stuffing him off camera. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with how I stuffed him. Remember, when you push it in, you could go to the sides to fill in all the sides. And so I don't want this part to be too full because I want him to sit. You want it to be flat. So when you close him up, he's flat and then he sits for you. So I'm happy with how he is, how much stuffing there is. And so I'm going to take my stitch marker off. Round 22 will be our last decrease round. We'll be done. Oh no, I stuffed in my last teeny piece of ribbon. Now we're going to do, for the last round, it's all decreases. We're going to do 8 sets of decreases. So, and they're always invisible. Front loop only. And 2 stitches, you do a decrease. And you just decrease all the way around. It will be 8 times. And the front loops only. I don't know how many I'm at. Because I have that marker, I don't have to count how many I am. I just know that I need to end on a decrease. And if I don't, my stitches are off. If I don't have 2 stitches to decrease, then I'm in trouble. That's actually not that big of a deal. Sometimes I'm off and I just budget. So there's my last 2. I'm done. Now I'm going to maybe leave 4 inches. I'm going to cut my yarn. I'm going to pull that through. I'm going to take my darning needle. I'm going to remove this. Now, if I ever if I ever needed to rip back because I messed up all the way back here, I know where all my rounds are. So I don't have to guess. I can just rip back as needed, as far back as I need to go. If you need to go all the way back here, it's not worth it. Don't rip it back. Live with it. It's okay. Alrighty. Now we're going to close up that hole with our darning needle. So I just pull it through. We don't even need to close it up like I showed you where you skip that. That's not even necessary. All you need to do is take your darning needle, go over the front loop only 8 times. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's my 8th stitch. 8. Hard to do that on camera. And then I like to, there's just this last little loopy thing left right here. And I just always go through that one too. But you need to make sure your this is still on here. Go through there. And then now you can pull it closed. See how nicely that closes up? And then you need to just weave in the ends. You just go back and forth across the bottom. Make sure you go across a row. Then you just bring it in and out a few times so that tail can't come back out on you. I'll do it one more time. And I'll come back out the back. And then I will, don't cut him. That's why I kind of push down a little bit. Kind of pull it a bit, and so then it pops back in there. See it pop back in there. See how he's nice and flat? And so then he sits. I think the brim, you could maybe do one more increased row if you want like a bigger brim. You could even do another row here on the hat. That would be really cute. That's the fun thing, is you always make multiples because then you can adjust them to your personality and see what you like. Adding a row here, adding an extra increase row around the brim. You could have fun with it. Oh, and then this, I left that one out. This, you could just, you want to go in here. And it's just the same concept. You just want to go in and out. I'm only going to do it once. It probably doesn't need it as much as the other one. Go in and out. Oh, no. cut it off. It's hard to do this on camera. Cut it off. Make sure don't cut too close. If you have it's still sticking out, you just go in here and you pull it down. See? You don't want to cut too close. So now we need to do his mouth, do some French knots, and then use a ribbon for the bow. He's almost done. We're so close, guys. I'm going to get a piece of black yarn for the mouth. Oh, you know what? Sorry, not yarn. Embroidery floss for for this. I always get way too much. I'm guessing I'm getting 10 inches. Don't think you really need that much, but I always do more than necessary. I typically, for this thin of a thread, I would use a smaller darning needle, but I don't have one by me. You want to go in somewhere where you're not going to do, where the mouth isn't going to be, but you don't want to be too far away. You're going to tie a knot with that end. I want the mouth to go, here's the nose, right under the nose. So I'm going to place my needle about right there, pull it through, and I'm going to be leaving a tail so I can tie that in a knot. Then I'm going to take his mouth and I'm going to go, I want it to curve like that. So I'm going to go in right here because that's where I want it to end. I'm going to go in there and then right out, see where there's a stitch or a line? I'm going to go right there. So then I can go back in here, back where I just came in. And then you want to, because I want the mouth to come down like this. I'm going to go, right, this isn't a perfect science. So I have the nice little lip, the little line right there. I want to keep this down, so that's why I went in there. I want to go around my embroidery floss, go back in where I just went, and come back out over here. And that will secure my mouth down. And then you can just play with it to see, do you like your mouth that way? Is it good? It's very hard to do this on camera. I'm happy with the mouth. So now I'm going to tie a knot. Hopefully on camera. Do it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. You just need to practice. Practice makes perfect. It doesn't have to be, well, practice makes better. It doesn't need to be perfect. You want to cut it not too close to where you're cutting any of your stuff. And then you just take your darning needle and you go in beside it, and then you kind of like scoop. You're going to just scoop and scoop that thing down inside. And see? Now it's gone. And if you're like, oh no, I can see it, just go in there and scoop more and push it towards the center. So his mouth is done. Now we're going to do the French knots. I'm going to take this time I'm going to take a 5-weight yarn. I'm going to do, I don't know, 12 inches roughly. And then I like, again, you don't want to go in where your knots are going to be. I don't measure, I just guess to where I want my first French knot to be. I kind of try to center it. I'm going to go in, here's his neckline. I'm going to go in about right here of his neckline, about 2 rows down. I'm going to come in over maybe under his arm, and then go in right there. It looks centered enough to me. pull it through. I want a a tail, so I can tie it in a knot for later. A French knot, you want to wrap close 2 or 3 times. That would 1, 2, I'll do 3 and show you what it looks like. 1, 2, I think that's 3 times. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be exact. You want to make sure you go 1 row down so that has something to hook onto. Then go back up so we can make another French knot. And then you just pull this through. Sorry guys, it's very, very hard to do on camera. So there's a French knot. There's my first piece of coal. Again, I want to get close to where that yarn's coming out of this hole. Wrap 1, 2. You could do it 2 times, 3 times. I just did it 3. Make sure you go down a row, because if you don't, you're just going to go right back in the same hole you just went through and nothing will attach. So I go down 1 row, and then I want to go up the next row. So I'm trying to keep it in as much of a line as you can. That doesn't look like it's a perfect line, so I'm going to go maybe right here. It doesn't really matter. Mine doesn't have to be perfect. Then my lines are good. I'm happy. And then I'm going to do 1 more. I maybe went down a little too far. I think I might want to wrap it and go up this time. Because if I put it here, I guess it really doesn't matter. I'll go down. We'll see. 1, 2. Remember, you got to skip a row so it has something to hang on to. There are more French knot tutorials out there. This is just showing you what I do. Somebody might do it better. There we go. I've squished his nose. There's my French knots. I'm happy with them. Remember, they don't have to be perfect because they're pieces of coal and a little kid made this, or a kid and the parents, or a big kid. I'm a big kid. Tie knots. I always like to do 3, at least 3. Going to cut these ends, not too close. Then I'm going to take my darning needle. I'm going to go in somewhere else and scoop. I want to scoop it down into the center of my snowman. Just keep scooping until you got it. You want to make sure you're going in wherever your knot is, you go in the exact same hole that you originally went into, or you won't be able to pull it down. You'll be securing it onto the outside of it. See how it's kind of showing through? So I just want to keep scooping, pushing, and maybe trying to grab some stuffing to go over it to cover it. Okay, so that's done now that I've smooshed him all up. And then the last thing is a ribbon. I have this ribbon. It is just from Hobby Lobby, I think, and it's 3/8 of an inch. I think maybe something a little bit smaller would have been better. It doesn't really matter. I guess how long I want it, because you can always cut it off shorter. I'll cut off a little extra. And then I'm going to tie this in a knot. I'm not the best knot person. I don't know how you tie a knot well on a snowman. I don't know. So I just play with it. You just keep playing with it until you're like, okay, I like that. Sometimes I'm like, oh no, shove that the other direction. How does that look? There we go. That works well. This guy is a little too long. I'm going to cut him. It's better to have a little too long than a little too short. And then you waste the whole thing. So there we go, guys. There is my snowman. Woohoo! He's so cute. And you just adjust the nose because you smushed him as you were doing him. I can't wait to see your guys' snowman. If you could, and you can put something around here. You could put a holly, you could put a bow, you could leave it. It's all up to you what you want to do. You didn't need to use safety eyes. You could use black one for coal. Anything that you want to do. You can have fun dressing him up. I have a Facebook. I would love to see your snowman. It brings me such joy. If you don't have Facebook, I have Instagram and I will link that as well.